You know that feeling when life blindsides you, when you're just living your best life, doing totally normal stuff, and then bam, your brain whispers, "Hey, remember that thing we never talked about? MS? Yeah, that." Well, let me take you back to the exact moment I realized I wasn't just quirky or stressed or going through something. I was officially an MS warrior. It was a Tuesday, nothing special. I was making my usual morning coffee because apparently even life-changing moments happen on random Tuesdays. When I noticed something weird, my right hand felt different, not painful, not numb, just off. Like I was wearing a glove made of someone else's skin. Now I'm the kind of person who Google searches, "Why do I feel weird?" and immediately becomes convinced I have 3 days to live. So of course I dismissed it. Probably just slept wrong, I told myself, because that's what we tell ourselves when we don't want to deal with reality. The rest of the day was normal. I went to work, I complained about traffic, I probably complained about my coffee. You know, peak human existence. But here's the thing about MS symptoms. They're sneaky little suckers. They don't just show up and announce themselves with confetti. No, they creep in like that friend who gradually starts eating all your food and then is just living in your house. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing my left leg felt heavy, like I was walking through invisible peanut butter. I was tripping over nothing, and I mean nothing. Carpet edges became my mortal enemies. My vision got weird, not blurry, not double, just strained, like I was trying to read through Vaseline. And the fatigue. Oh, the fatigue was something else. Not just I need coffee tired, but I think someone replaced my bones with concrete exhausted. By month 2, it was like my body was sending me increasingly dramatic text messages. Hey, remember that weird feeling? Multiply that by 10 and maybe consider a doctor? But still, I had my theories. Maybe I was just out of shape. So I started going to the gym. Big mistake. I was using the elliptical and my left leg just refused to cooperate. Not completely, just enough that I looked like I was doing some weird interpretive dance called confused human trying to exercise. The breaking point? I was cooking dinner, making my famous pasta, which is really just boiling water and adding sauce from a jar, and I dropped the pot. Not because I was clumsy, but because my hands just let go. Not numb, not weak, just gone. Like someone had hit the release button on my grip. That's when the fear crept in. Not the dramatic I might have something serious as fear, but the quiet, persistent something is definitely not right fear that lives in the back of your mind like a bad roommate who steals your food and never does dishes. So here I was, 3 months in, still telling myself I was just going through a phase like I was 16 with purple hair and a manifesto. I was at home, doing absolutely nothing important, probably scrolling through my phone while pretending to be productive. When I tried to stand up from my couch, and I couldn't. Not couldn't as in too comfortable, but couldn't as in my legs just wouldn't get the message. I was sitting there perfectly fine, and then nothing. Like my brain had sent the text stand up now to a phone that was in airplane mode. I sat there for what felt like hours, but was probably 30 seconds, trying again. And when I finally managed to stand, I looked at myself in the mirror across the room. Yes, I have mirrors in my living room. Fight me. And I saw something I hadn't seen before. Someone who knew, deep down, that this wasn't normal. That was my unlikely moment. Not at the doctor, not getting test results, not having some dramatic revelation. It was right there in my living room, in my pajamas, while I was probably worrying about what to have for lunch. I finally said out loud to my empty apartment, I think I need to see a doctor. The rest is kind of a blur and also very specific, you know? I called my doctor, got in pretty quickly because apparently I can't feel my legs moves you up the priority list. I told her everything, and she did that thing doctors do where they nod and write things down and ask follow-up questions that somehow make you feel both seen and terrified. The MRI appointment came next, and if you've never had an MRI, imagine being invited to a very loud, very long party in a metal tube where they ask you to hold perfectly still while various noises happen around you. I brought music, which helped, but mostly I just tried not to think about what they might find. Results took a few days, which was basically my personal hell because I Googled everything and convinced myself I had at least 7 different conditions. But when the call came, my doctor was kind and direct. We found lesions consistent with multiple sclerosis. And you know what my first reaction was? Relief. Not happiness. Relief. Because I finally had a name for what was happening to me. And it wasn't, I'm just being dramatic, or I need to try yoga, or maybe you should sleep more. Today I'm not the person who was scared and confused in that living room. I'm still me. Just a more informed, more resilient version. I have good days and challenging days. But I have a community of fellow warriors who understand, and I have hope for the future. If you're watching this and any of this sounds familiar, that weird feeling, the way you're explaining away symptoms, that quiet fear in the back of your mind, please don't wait 3 months like I did. Talk to your doctor. Advocate for yourself. You know your body better than anyone. And remember, you are not your diagnosis, but you are not alone in this journey either. We're all just trying to figure it out one day at a time, one step at a time, even if those steps sometimes feel like they're through invisible peanut butter. Thanks for letting me share this part of my story with you. Drop a comment below. What was your unlikely moment? Let's keep this conversation going.